Hi, I'm Mrs. Reset, your beauty consultant with CaribCultura Beauty, and welcome. ¡Ay, Dios mío! ¿Qué me está llamando? ¿Por qué me llaman? ¿Por qué? Porque cuando estoy tratando de grabar un video, me quieren llamar. Dios mío. Dios mío. Pero anyway, estamos aquí. Ahora sigo hablando en español. Start over. Welcome to mi isla. Carib is short for Caribbean. Carib, as pronunciation in Spanish. Carib, short for Caribbean. Cultura is the Spanish word for culture. CaribCultura Beauty is everything surrounding the beautiful Caribbean culture. O algo parecido, ¿verdad? Ok, eso es lo que estamos haciendo. Today's video is going to be, it is my most anticipated video. It's a video that I wanted to do now for a while, but I did not own all the Mothership 10 pan palettes, so I couldn't do the video. So now I do. So I have to rate my 10 pan palettes, and that's what this video is all about. If you had noticed in my background, this is a very active war zone in the Dorset residence. So yeah, just letting you know in advance. But yeah, I finally have all 8 of the 10 pan palettes, and I am in the Pat McGrath Mothership eyeshadow palettes Facebook group, and somebody posed a question to rate your 10 palettes, and I was like, I already have my 10 palettes. I could go ahead and do a video about it, so why not? So this is that video. I'm also just coming home from work, so I look a hot mess. Probably got Yampi in my eye. Yampi is the Caribbean term for eye boogers. We say Yampi. 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 Pronounce with me. Yampi. So yeah, so if you see any Yampi, or if you're looking a little weird, I just eat too. I also had a mask on all day. So, you know, that's what this is all about, okay? Anyway, so let's get started. So when it comes to Pat McGrath palettes, first of all, Pat McGrath palettes, 10 pen palettes retail for $125 USD. $125. That is the MRSP, the retail value of a 10 pen palette. Why? Number one is Pat McGrath. I mean, she is the dame. She's a dame. She has been named by Queen Elizabeth herself as the dame. Okay, so apart from being a dame, she is a world-renowned makeup artist. She's a black woman. I think her mother come from Jamaica. I think her mother Jamaican. Anyway, of course, she's in the UK, and she is a celebrity makeup artist. Pretty much, she is an innovator in the fashion scene. But anyway, these 10 pan palettes are exquisite. Okay. They are a very heavy black lacquer, okay? Very, very, don't mind my fingerprints. Very, very luxurious packaging, very thick, very heavy, very pristine palette, okay? In each one of her palettes, she has multiple different formulas. Now, a lot of people might say, oh, you know, they are impressed with the ABH formula. They know the ABH matte formula. They know the ABH shimmer formulas. The difference with Pat McGrath is in every one of her 10 pan palettes, they have multiple finishes. Okay, so her formulas are very different from palette to palette. You have, at the end of the 10 pan palettes, you have her special shades. Now, the special shades can range anywhere from a crystallized astral color to a very creamy metallic color to a very crummy shimmer, or it can be a duochrome or multi-chrome. It all depends on the palette. It also all depends on the shade and the finish. But within her palettes, it's not as simple as a matte or shimmer. In her palettes, you have matte shades, you have satin matte shades, you have satin shades, you have shimmer shades, you have metallic shades, and then you have crystallized shades, you have multi-chrome shades. So each one eyeshadow can be a completely different formula, and each formula could coexist with other palettes or it could not. All right, so we're gonna go through all her palettes, and I'm going to go in order. I kind of like how the Fancy Face went into her ratings, where she started with her favorite palette and then went down the line, whereas everybody starts with their least favorite palette and then they go up to their most favorite palette at the end. I'm just going to start it off. I kind of like that because, you know, get straight to the point, and I like how Fancy Face did that, so we're going to do it the same way. All right, so the very first palette that I would say, if I had to choose my most favorite Mothership palette, is going to be Mothership II Sublime. This is my favorite, my number one palette. And it's my number one palette for many reasons. The first main reason is because this was my very first eyeshadow palette by Pat McGrath. This is the very first palette that I actually purchased at retail price, mind you. Because when it comes to makeup, a lot of my makeup is something that makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy. Makeup and flowers are like the two things that actually can raise my mood or change my mood. And when I got this palette, I was not in a good place mentally. There were a lot of changes that occurred on my job. A lot of people that I have worked with for years, like in the blink of an eye, they were let go. A lot of internal changes, and it's something that is very common in corporate America. You have mergers and acquisitions frequently, major layoffs and things like that. And so that day I realized that, you know, your livelihood, as far as when you're working in corporate America and when you are working for when you're working for that pyramid scheme, for the pyramid of corporate America, like your livelihood can be taken away at a moment's notice. Okay. And so I was like, what? These people, de verdad, como que ellos se jodieron por la compañía, han estado trabajando duro, en vez de estar cogiendo sus vacaciones, estuvieron trabajando demasiado, and then it's like, oh, de la noche a la mañana, sorry, laid off. Oh, no necesitamos su servicio. And I was just like, really? Like, I understand business is business, but when you have formed relationships, that's what I say. Anyway, I'm getting off tangent. Long story short, that day changed my life because it caused me to realize that you are not supposed to put your trust in any company. You're not supposed to put your trust in any position. You're not supposed to put your trust in an employer. Okay, because at the end of the day, business is business, and if it does not make financial sense, they are going to make those changes and they're going to make those cuts, or they might completely sell the company or merge it, or you might be an acquisition. You know, it can change, you know? So it's like, you don't put your livelihood into a company or a person. You put your livelihood into a mission or a goal. Okay, you move forward with that mission, you move forward with that goal, not for a brand or a company or even a person, because that person could be gone tomorrow. But that was a life lesson for me. And so I was just like, wow, just like that, your security blanket could be pulled right from out under you and you are back to square one. And I'm granted, everybody has to start over at some point. Everybody has to, but you usually want to plan those things. You don't want to just be like, de la noche a la mañana, como que te van a botar, you know? And that's actually was like a life-changing moment for me. And so I was kind of depressed in that moment because it was like, wow, like everybody who I actually cared about for like over 10 years were just like leaving. And so I was like, you know what? YOLO. I mean, what's the one thing that I have been waiting out or holding off for the longest, that I was either saying, oh, I'm not worth it, and then I was like, that Pat McGrath palette that I've had my eye on for months, but I was just like, I couldn't justify it. I'm like, no, let me save my money, or, you know, I can't really justify that type of expense. And then I was like, you know what? tomorrow is not promised. You could be with these people today and tomorrow something happened to, and you're going to regret not doing what you wanted to do. So I was like, I buying it. And it was the happiest moment of my life. And I purchased this palette. And when it came, it was every bit as beautiful as it was on the website. And I just love it. And because it has so much sentimental value to me, that is why it is my favorite palette of all times. Now, I was going between this one and Subversive when I first was trying to purchase the very first palette, but I decided on this one because of all the neutral shades. I like the color story, even though this pink kind of come out of nowhere, but it's kind of like a shifty kind of color. Even this one was a little like this. Like, what I also like about her shades is that you can layer them. This is my favorite shade in the entire palette. This is what is this? Blitz Emerald. I was gonna say emerald green. This is Blitz Emerald. It is such a beautiful shade. There's nothing in my entire collection that compares to this shade. This shade is phenomenal. Okay, this is my most favorite shade in the palette. The number 2 palette of all time is none other than Decadence. Now I had to show this because I got the Star Wars Decadence in the Star Wars packaging. I don't have the original packaging. Now at the time the Decadence came out, I saw it and I was like, that is my color story. I want that. But again, I was like, you know, I just got Sublime. That was a shocker. You know, there was no life-changing incident occurring in my life at the time, and I loaf and then it was sold out. And then like 2 years later it came back in Star Wars, and I was like, I am not stopping and go. I am not collecting $200. I am going straight and I am ordering this immediately. Look at this. This has a gold mirror, like you can see my ceiling fan up top on the roof. In my head. Beautiful packaging. Beautiful packaging. Listen, to be honest with you, I was never a Star Wars fan. Okay, I'm all about Marvel. Heck, I even do DC. I had never watched one Star Wars episode before this came out. Real talk. I thought like Star Wars were like for them weirdos. And when she came out with this, I was like, Star Wars, The Rise of the Skywalker. And then it was like, well, you know, it have like multiple different episodes that you have to watch first in order to get caught up. And so my husband and I binge watched all of the Star Wars episodes from the beginning to the end, like in order, all because of Mother. And now I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. Like Darth Vader. Ooh. The dude that played him when he was younger, listen, I'm a fan. He was so hot. But anyway, this is what Decadence looks like. When I first saw this color story, I was sold. I was like, this is all me. Ooh, okay. This is an all shimmer palette. And these metallics are completely different from the metallics that I was talking about. Those creamy metallics. These are creamy too, but they're not that crushed type metallic. They don't like kind of like layer. These are like smooth shimmers. And this palette smells so good. It smells like vanilla. This is like her only scented palette. This smells amazing. Like every time I open it, I'm like, it smells amazing. Kind of reminds me like the Tartes, like how the Tarte palette sometimes used to have that kind of like light, sweet vanilla type scent. It's not vanilla, but it's kind of like that sweet type scent. But yeah, look at the color story, no? I had wanted this palette so bad, and like for 2 years she let us suffer, and we pleaded and pleaded, like, Pat, please bring it back. I went to get all of these individually, like this one and this one is in the mini Subversive palette. This one was an Idol. ¿Qué más? I had like a good much of these, you know. I had this one, this one, this one, and this one, the Blue Blood. Yeah. I even think I pretty much had like 6 shades out of this palette. Like I had to go and buy them individually because I had missed out on this palette. Like I had wanted so bad, and then when it came back in stock, I did not even get the 2 mini Star Wars. I was like, we're getting Decadence. Boom. So Decadence, my number 2 of all time. Number 3 on my list, believe it or not, this is going to be a shocker. Midnight Sun. I know Midnight Sun is like the most slept on palette by Pat McGrath. Like, so much so that I think I got this like on sale, and because everybody was blown away by Bronze Seduction when this one was launched, I don't think it received the same level, because like on the palette you're seeing purple, and I'm gonna put, oh yeah, I do have purple in the palette, but it's kind of like a lilac. And when it came out, I honestly was not, I was like, okay, you know, I didn't need, like, I needed Bronze Seduction, but this one, when it first came out, I didn't really need it. It's like, it was just like, okay, you know, like the color story was okay. When I saw the Fancy Face video, like, this is the metallic again I was telling you about. Look at that. It's like a crushed type of, so pretty. But see, like, all her shadows are like different formulas depending on the palette. Now this one is so unique because, believe it or not, like, first of all, this is a warm palette. Everybody thought that Bronze Seduction was a warm palette, but this one is a very warm palette. And then look at this shade right here. Oh, you know what? I didn't say what my favorite shade was in it. Oh, in the Star Wars, all the shades are my favorite. But for this one, my favorite shades, like on my skin tone, is this one, and this one. Let me make sure I get the names. Okay, so my favorite shades are this Blood Moon 005, which is this beautiful, it's not really a rose gold, it's kind of like a reddish, like a burnt orange. This shade is gorgeous, okay? Gorgeous. And this, like, in my crease with this color, just blending it out, this and this is like a vibe. So beautiful. Goes against, like, if you have golden skin tones, warm golden skin tones, brown skin, oh my gosh, you would kill this. This, and this. And then, oh, I did not see the beauty in this palette when I saw it like this. But when I saw this, and this shade right here, I was like, wow, because this is a light enough shade that it can blend out this color, and then you have this to deepen it up. And you got to be careful with Pat McGrath shades because they do look a lot deeper. They look a lot lighter in the palette, but they are very deep once you apply them. But you'll be sleeping on this. And like, sometimes even the color story, just looking at it, it might be a little off, but then when you put all the colors together, like this purple and this green side by side, you might think, where does this purple come from? But I'm telling you, like, oddly enough, they all go together and they're beautiful. So this is definitely my number 3 palette. It is, to me, in my opinion, the most slept on palette. They often go on sale for $80. If you can get this hair on sale, trust me when I say it's a steal. Bronze Seduction is number 4 on the list. Why? A lot of people usually rank this as number 1, but for me, like I told you, because of the sentimental value, I had to rate Sublime number 1 for many reasons. But also, Bronze Seduction was beautiful. I also got Bronze Seduction. I got Bronze Seduction for sentimental reasons as well, okay? Now, I do give a lot of love to Bronze Seduction. This right here is everything. I love Bronze Seduction. I do get a lot of love out of Bronze Seduction, but those other palettes, to me, as far as being aesthetically pleasing, and for Midnight Sun for surprising me, that's why it's higher than Bronze Seduction. But this is still number 4. It's still a good ways. This is my favorite shade. I like this formula. A lot of people don't, but if you're into like the shimmer shades, this is my favorite metallic. This crushed metallic is my favorite formula. You see, I do give Bronze Seduction a lot of love. I gave it a lot of love before I got Midnight Sun. But you know, what can you say about Bronze Seduction? It is a perfect warm palette. It is beautiful. It has all your shades, the deepening shade. This deep purple hair is so perfect for deepening up the crease. I think this is the only one that might be a different formula that's not like her typical matte. I think this one is a harder formula than these. These are more smooth. This is more stark. But with Pat McGrath, I always go in with a dense brush. I never have issues with any of her shadows. This palette has super sentimental value because it was another incident that I had with one of my coworkers that I have worked with forever and ever, who had health issues at the time. And I was very, very saddened by the circumstances. And I was like, I needed something to cheer me up because I couldn't mentally take the fact that somebody that I had known and worked with for all these years, like instantly at like the drop of a dime, had health issues, and that they were stuck in the hospital. And it was like, wow, like that could happen to any one of us. Like any one of us today could be going about our merry way, and then just boom, have a health issue, and then we are just out. Like work, screw career, screw responsibilities, screw bills. It's like you can't do nothing when you don't have health. And it was like another eye-opener to me, because I was like, wow, you stress yourself so much sometimes for these companies. You worry so much about climbing the ladder. You put your best foot forward, but you kind of have to step back sometimes and focus on the bigger issue. Number one, your health comes above everything else. Sometimes we put our job before everything else because we're still concerned about, we have bills to pay, we have to take care of our kids. Yes, but if you are not healthy, you can't do none of them things. So it's like you have to put yourself first. You have to take care of yourself first, because if you are not taking care of yourself, none of them other stuff don't matter. It doesn't. And we put so much emphasis on so much attention on these things, and yes, they are important. Yes, we have to work. Yes, we have to gain additional knowledge. Yes, we have to pay our bills. Yes, we have to survive in life. But make sure that you are taking care of yourself and putting yourself first. And that was another eye-opener for me, because I was like, you know what? You need to exercise. You need to spend more time with your family. You need to take care of yourself. You need to stop staying up all kind of long hours, working for these people all day, bringing work home, working all night, going right back, working again. What is the benefit to you? What are they doing to you? How are they going to treat you if you drop dead tomorrow? They're going to find some other way to get our work done. Trust and believe. So it's like you have to really take a step back and be like, wow, I just have my life. I just have my health. I have to put me first. If I ain't feeling good, I ain't feeling good. Back in the day, I could have been sick, everything. But now I have learned that if you are not here, and even when you're not here, they're going to find a way. You are not the company, honey. They are going to find a way. Don't feel like, oh, they need me. No, it's not worth it. It's really not. If it's not your company that you work in hard for, blood, sweat, tears, it is not worth it, because tomorrow an acquisition can happen, a sale can happen, a merger can happen, and you thought you were so important to the company, and then they lay you off because the other company don't see you in their pyramid plan. You know what I mean? So you gotta watch that. I said all of that to say that when that occurred, again, an emotional purchase, I went ahead and got this. Once what you're doing is pleasing in God's eyes and you are living that purpose, treat yourself, my girl. So that's what I did with brand Seduction. The sun is going down, so I need to hurry up. Coming in at number 5, el número 5, it would be Divine Rose 2. Divine Rose 2. Why? Well, let's just say when Divine Rose 1 came out, I was like, all that pink is cute and everything, but that's a little too boring for me. And then she came out with Divine Rose 2. For people like me, that's how Divine Rose 1 was boring. And yes, it did do everything that it was supposed to do. Like this shade and this shade though, these two make the perfect blush. This one and this one. And if you have warm tone, again, you have golden undertones, this looks amazing. This and this is this, once I put this hair in my crease, this dipping it up, and then I can go back with some blush and like bring it all the way up to match the gorgeous. And then depending on what I'm wearing, I could go in with this darker brush, this darker shade as my blush, and it's perfect. These, like, this shade looks super pink. Now that I'm putting it in the camera, it looks kind of like purple, but really look at that. That's the shade that it looks like in the pan. So it looks purple there, but in the pan it looks like this. It's so funny how that shade works. I'm trying to get it where it looks there. Like, it looks kind of like gold / greenish, pewterish. That's the color it looks like when I'm looking directly at it. That's what it looks like. But my favorite shade in this palette are these two matte shades right here. Why? Because I use them as blushes as well, and it looks amazing. They're not patchy, they're smooth, they blend easily. Gorgeousness. And this shade is a riot because you put the shade on, like, this whole palette is beautiful. I was like, this needed to be called Bronze Hibiscus instead. I mean, what it called? Divine Hibiscus too. It was really what it should have been called. Divine Hibiscus, not Divine Rose. Divine Hibiscus. That's what I call this palette. Okay. Yes. So this comes in at number 5. So I just went on a tangent and I did not even realize that I was not recording. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what the last video was about. But I was talking about my number 6 on the list, which is Subliminal. I don't even know if I sang them the last time. And I was talking about the reason that I did not see, of course, I swatched. The reason I did not get Subliminal early, because this was the very last palette that of Pat McGrath that I got. And I got it late because I thought that, first of all, this shade and this shade is in Sublime. So I was like, first off the bat, 2 shades that are on there I don't even need because I already have them already. And then the blue, I already had a blue. So then I was like, all these other colors are like everyday colors. I don't need it, right? Well, boy, was I wrong. First of all, my favorite shade in the palette is this, which is Ultimate Taupe. It is the lightest matte shade that I have seen in any of her 10 pan palettes. So this is my favorite shade in the entire palette. Most people obviously would go with the Blitz Blue as their favorite shade, but the reason I didn't go with that is because all this time I thought that I already had a blue, and that's because I went ahead and purchased Ultraviolet Blue, which came in the Ultraviolet kit that I got. When this shade is placed over black, it is violet, okay? Hence the name Ultraviolet Blue. These are the shades swatched side by side, so you can see the comparison that they are 2 completely different shades. I have been trying for the longest to say, okay, do I need Subliminal if I already have Ultraviolet Blue? And I was like, no, I don't need it. Blue. I don't even like blue like that. But when I got them, I was like, Ultraviolet Blue, Blitz Blue. They are 2 completely different blues, and I don't know what took me so long to get Subliminal, but I am so happy that I got it because it's a very beautiful palette. I do not have this blue. This blue is unlike any other blue. This blue is like beautiful blue, and I'm gonna do like a look. I want to do a look where it's kind of like a blue with brown, like I have it in my hand, like brown shimmer, blue in the middle, and this, and then probably this to kind of like blend it out. Beautiful. So this is the shade that I'm going to go with as my favorite shade in the entire palette, and this palette is coming in at number 6. I don't know, but don't be like me. If you've had your eye on the Subliminal palette, go ahead and get it. Coming in at number 7 is Subversive. Now, granted, I know there are a lot of people that have Subversive as their number 1 palette. I want to say, I know Alicia from Kinky Sweat has this as her number 1. And I think Fancy Face may have put this as number 1 too. I don't recall. But I know there are a lot of people that had this as number 1. Now, originally when she launched the first 3 Mothership palettes, I had my eye on this one. I was really trying to choose between this one and Sublime. Should I get Sublime or should I get Subversive? Sublime, Subversive, Sublime, Subversive, Sublime, Subversive, Sublime, Subversive, Sublime. Okay, now, oddly enough, when I finally got Subversive, now I got Subversive right before, I think I got Subversive right after Divine Rose, or right after I got Divine Rose 1, I got Subversive, and then I got Divine Rose 2, or algo parecido, ya tú sabes. When I first saw this palette online, I was like, I have to have it. You could see, like, my nails be digging in these things. I had to have it because of the color story. It was like so beautiful and so colorful. But you can see with this palette, we have a lot of duochrome shades. Like, what looks like in the pan is not what is applied, or in the light that is applied. So you might look at it and have one color story, but then when you apply it, it's like a completely different color story. So the only reason this is coming in at number 7 and not higher in the list is because I have not played around with it enough to become familiar with the shades. Like, you see, this one is a given. If I had to choose my favorite shade in the palette, I can't even choose my favorite shade in the palette because I don't even use the palette that much. I would say maybe this one, and this one is called VR Pink. So we can swatch that. VR Pink. And this is a topper shade. Ooh, look at that. It's a topper, like, it looks so gold and sparkly in person, but on camera it's coming out like a kind of like a periwinkle Tinkerbell pink. But when I do it, on my hand, it's weird. Like, it's, when I tell you this palette is weird, it's like what looks like this is the color that it looks like on my hand, but when I swatch it, it comes like that color. You see? I don't know if you can see the shift. I'm seeing the shift in the camera, but maybe you might see the shift. But when I apply it, it even looks like lilac. But like here, it looks kind of like a, what do you call that? Rose gold. It's crazy. Anyway, everybody like the Night Creature. I'm not really, I mean, yes, I wear golds, but I'm not like a huge gold fan. The initial part of the lid is where I normally put the gold, and that's usually it. You put a little gold right there, it highlights the center of your face, and then what? A lot of people like this color, and this color, which is the Night Creature. I think Night Creature is this. Every time I hear Night Creature, I think on Alicia. So we're gonna swatch Night Creature. Alicia, Kinky Sweat. She loved herself some Night Creature, boy. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, that's pretty. Okay. That is pretty. See, I need to play around with this palette some more. Like, it's very intimidating when you look at it because it's like, what color story? It's like you have to swatch everything because in the pan, it looks like this looks blue, you know? So let's swatch it and see what shade comes out. We're going to swatch that right next to Night Creature. Oh, it does look, but it's kind of like a purple. It kind of reminds me of like a unicorn. This is what they look like. See, it looks blue. This is gorgeous, okay? That's my issue with this palette. The palette is beautiful, but I have to play around with it more in order to understand each shade, because what's in the pan is not what applies in most cases. So you definitely have to be creative. It is one of those palettes that you have to get to know the shades and become familiar with the shades in order to know what other colors would complement, what other colors to pair it with. And I think that's my issue with the Subversive. I absolutely love the palette, don't get me wrong. I just don't have as much experience with the palette to know, like, well, maybe I could mix this shade on top of Blitz Blue from Subliminal. You know what I mean? Like, I actually have to play around with it, and I just have not had a chance to. And so that's why it's coming in at number 7. And then last but not least, if you have not guessed, you know my number 8 palette, the last one on my list, is none other than Divine Rose 1. Now, let me put a disclaimer, okay? Let's be completely honest. I love all my Pat McGrath 10 pan palettes equally, okay? But if you have to rank them, this one will come in at the last. Why? Based on my style. Now, other people rank this as number 1 because it is like the makeup artist's dream, like the perfect bridal makeup palette all in one. It is a stunningly beautiful palette. It is beautiful. It is stunning. My favorite shade in this palette is this one right here, which is called, is it that one? Is that my favorite shade? Yeah, that is my favorite shade. This is called VR Rose Venus, okay? And that is this color right here. It looks gold in the pan, but on it's pink. Or vice versa. Sometimes it looks, see right here, it looks like this very, very pink shade. But then when you look at it straight on, it is gold. So it's like these dual chrome, multi-chrome, quad chromes, whatever they call it. This is my favorite shade in the entire pan. This is VR Rose Venus. This shade alone is the reason why I purchased this palette. For this shade alone. It looks gold, but then sometimes it looks pink. It looks like a candy cane kind of color. And I'm going to swatch it right up here. Let me show it to you. I'm going to swatch it here. You see that? That is like a cotton candy kind of color. So pretty. Like on my skin, it's coming out like goldish, but then in the tint, it could come out like copper to pinky. It is gorgeous. It is a gorgeous shade. Beautiful. Beautiful. I just want you to know you're my favorite girl. I still have a lot on my hand. Oh, 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 oh. You see? Look how pretty that shade is. I just want you to know that you are really special. Oh, I. Beautiful shade. Gorgeousness. Listen, and this shade as a topper, what I like about Pat McGrath special shades is that they can combine with each other and they can make multiple shades. Like look at this, for example. Let's see. What can we put on top of it? Ooh, this shade right here that is called Astral Solstice. That's this one right here, okay? This is a topper shade. When I swatch it, it looks white like a pearl. I can see why makeup artists love it for bridal, because look at that. This would be beautiful, beautiful. Inner corner. It could even work as a highlighter. Gorgeous. I'm going to put that on top of this and you can see. Look at that. Look at the shade that it created. This nice, frosty, champagne gold shade. Gorgeousness. I'm going to take this same Astral Solstice and Astral Solstice from Divine Rose 1. I'm going to put it on top of this shade right here that we couldn't really quite figure out if it was blue or pink. Like I'm looking at it right now and it looks purple, but I know on the camera it's showing that it's blue. I'm going to put this shade on top of that. Look at that. Look at the shade it turned. Gray. Like a pewter kind of. Let me tell you one thing about her. Like you have to get to know the shades. Once you get to know the shades, you'll be blown away of all the things that you can create with these shadows. Look at this color story on my hand. Look at this color story. It is gorgeous. Gorgeous. I'm going to put it while we're experimenting. That's what I love about Pat McGrath shades. You can exercise your creativity. Her palettes allow for mixing, layering, and it's not going to look muddy or nothing like that. They're all going to transform into different shades. Look at that. Look at that. Okay? Gorgeous. gorgeous. Like, the possibilities are endless when it comes to Pat McGrath shades. I absolutely love, love, love them. Like, there's no denying I love all of my 10 pen palettes. But those were just the order that, you know, if I had to put them in order and if I had to show any type of favoritism. But what I really like is using the palettes interchangeably. Like, I would take one shade from one palette, mix it with another palette, and come up with some amazing looks. So I personally would recommend, if you have never tried Pat McGrath shades, do it for yourself. Do it one time. Get one 10 pen palette. Just one. They often have sales. She has spring sale. Just most of the sales are kind of consistent with Sephora sales. So they'll have a spring sale, a fall sale, winter sale. She always has sales. So, you know, in la temporada, so like season sales, changing of the season, there will be a sale. So if you are a little bit shy about the price tag, just wait for the season to change and there will be a sale. I wanted to do this video before she comes out with another 10 pound palette that I probably are gonna procrastinate and then be like, okay, yeah, I need it. But I'm so fortunate and I'm so blessed, and I'm not like trying to put it to anybody's face if they don't have it or if they can't afford one of these palettes. But I'm telling you that it would change your life. I'm telling you that one of her palettes would change your life. Again, they're not for everybody. If you're not into luxury makeup, if you don't like makeup in general, you probably won't justify yourself spending $125 on a palette. Or if it goes on sale for like 88 bucks, you might not, you probably can't justify, like I can't justify myself spending $200 on a pair of shoes, you know, because my kids wear my same size. So any shoe I buy, they're going to be up and down in the hallway with it. And before long, I ain't gonna have them pair of shoes. And I'm speaking from experience. Somebody that has had like 50 pairs of shoes and probably right now down to 10 pairs of shoes because my kids broke out my shoes or they ripped them off or write on them. Or I digress. But if you love makeup, you love luxury makeup, you love creating, you love blending, you love glitter, you love special shades, you love metallic shades, you love blinding shades, you love color, you love ease of use. You love shadows to be pigmented the first time. Apply pigmented the first time. Blend out easily. You like shimmers that blend out into mattes. Shimmers that can be used in the crease. Luxury packaging. Exquisite designs and color stories. Quality mirrors. Look at that beveled mirror. Look at that. Quality mirrors, heavy palettes, luxury lacquer where you can put your nails and clickety clack clack clack, clickety clack clack clack, clickety clack clack clack. You get a point. Pat McGrath shades, Pat McGrath shadows are for you. So as I clean up this mess that I have here on my desk, I want to thank you guys for watching so much. Let me know if you had to rate just your 10 pen palettes, if you have the 10 pen palettes, or even if you've been window shopping, because I've been rating my palettes them before I even owned all of them. And trust me, they are expensive. So what I do is every time that there is a sale, I buy one. So I save up. If you put away, if it's really that important to you, because some people just don't see makeup as being that important, and nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. Makeup ain't your thing. Nobody can convince you to get something that you don't like. But if you like it, and I certainly love me some makeup. But yeah, most of these palettes, only 2 palettes I've actually purchased at retail value. And I told you that was Sublime and that was Bronze Seduction. Those are the only 2 that I purchased at retail value because I was going through a personal issue and I needed that makeup therapy. I needed that retail therapy to just make me feel good. Other than that, everything else was purchased during a sale with the discount during one of the season sales. I mean, it is what it is. If you have the patience, like, and all these palettes, I didn't buy them in one sitting. They're like they've been over the years. Okay, they all have, I think, a shelf life of, what is it? The shelf life is usually like anywhere between 12 and 18 months. But I keep my palettes forever because they're collector's items and I use them, you know. I come home and I want to feel good and I want to, porque la vida no es fácil, man. Like, seriously, la vida es bien duro y a veces necesitamos algo que no. Granted, I have God. I love God, But, sometimes we look in the mirror as we age and we're just like, wow, I gave you all my pretty years. But, yeah, you have to find something. Your thing might not be makeup. Your thing might be baking or gardening or sewing or something, painting, decorating, interior design. Find that thing that gives you enjoyment. And I'm right now looking at my orchids getting burned by the sun. I gotta close the blinds. But yeah, find that thing that gives you or that brings you enjoyment, because our kids gonna always be here. We're gonna always have to take care of our kids. We're gonna always have to take care of our husband. We're always gonna have to take care of the job. We're gonna always have to take care of everything else but ourselves. Put yourself first. It's not selfish. It's not selfish. And if you're a giver like me, you give. You always inconvenience yourself to help other people. And sometimes it's not really reciprocated. So sometimes you need to reciprocate and you need to do that to yourself. You're giving of yourself, but sometimes you need to give back to yourself. And that's what I do with makeup, because it is something I enjoy. It is something that I like. And it's something that lifts my spirit. So my advice to all of you would be to find that thing that gives you enjoyment and do a lot of it. As usual, I'm your beauty consultant, Miss Dorset with CaribCultura Beauty. And while you're here on my island, you could check out some other videos, you might as well. Just grab something to eat. I promise to put more cooking videos on there. We need to put more cultural videos. I like makeup and the majority of my content has been makeup, but really, if we're being completely honest, I haven't done really anything cultural in a long time. So I need to kind of bring back the cultural to the beauty, the cultura to the beauty. It is what it is. And I also have I need to do a video on Creole parce que tu dis moi yo ready video en Creole. Oui. But besoin penser oui même parce que les m'a parlé de Tintin tout parole sorti. Les m'a parlé de un bagage sérieux. Parole yo pas sorti parce que m'pas ka penser. But anyway, you get the point. Talk to you later. I am Mrs. Dorset, your beauty consultant with CaribCultura Beauty, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.